Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and today I'm continuing my dive through the various playthroughs of 20 Strong. Note before I start, this is a final production copy, which means there are some changes, some things you can expect to see differently in your, well, actual copy if you get this. The chip's going to be a little more deluxeified. The dice right now over here have all the colors a little settled in a way that aren't the way they're going to be in the final version, but that won't stop me from playing through this, so let's go ahead and get started. If you missed this already, I played through Solar Sentinels. You can go ahead and watch that video and see how well I fared. Today I'm playing through Hoplomachus, and I'll be continuing on with Too Many Bones at some point. We'll see how that goes. But in Hoplomachus, you're going to do things a bit differently. I've set up some things already, but I will be setting up some of the stuff with you so I can make decisions together. The first thing I did over here is I took the 54 encounter cards, and I made a pyramid of the various tiles. You're trying to head up to Mounts of Vesuvius, where you're going to face off against the Scion over there. I always forget, is it Scions? And there's Scions, and then there's, let me double check over here, the exact breakdown, because there's two things. There's Scions and something else. Choose a Scion, choose Primuses, that's what it is. I always get confused between the Scion and the Primuses. The Scion is the ultimate baddie you're fighting against. This is who we're fighting against, Hoplomachus over here. He's interesting. We'll talk more about how things play out as we start. Then we have the various Primuses we're going to fight, and to do that, we're going to go ahead and shuffle up the hero and Primus deck, and you're going to choose one hero, and the three you do not choose will become Primuses. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have our various Primuses in play, and I'm not going to heavily go through all this. We'll just take a look. We have Aprilis over here. Ooh, Aprilis and the Fools. We have Decimus. Your health can never exceed 4. Each time you use an item, you may recover 1 die and or +1. That's not bad, not bad. Bing Queen, I used her last, so I'm not going to use her right now. I'll take her out of the running right off the bat. Cracklance, at the end of each recover dice step, you may recover 1 blue or green for each incomplete opportunity in your inventory. That's interesting. That's interesting. I think I'm going to try to take advantage of that. I don't know how Cracklance is going to go. His health isn't great, but his, whatever the middle step strategy, I don't remember the name of this attribute over here, is great. His recover's only 1, but you could mitigate. Now, what's interesting is in Victorum over here, what you have in Hoplomachus, is it called Victorum or Hoplomachus? In Victorum, both. It's called Hoplomachus Victorum. In the game, you're going to have 3 types of encounters. You're going to have the sports, the bloodshed, and then the opportunities, which currently there are no opportunities at the top of the stacks, which means he is very interesting, but I won't be able to take advantage of him until I get some opportunities. So let me just take a look at Aprilis first and then decide between the two. Aprilis has, after completing a Primus conflict, recruit the strongest die in the training grounds. Then you may place the defeated Primus card in your inventory as an item, hero side face up, and use their ability... Wait, what? Hero side, and use their ability... Oh. Interesting. That's very interesting. He basically, after you complete a Primus, which these guys will turn to Primuses, he's going to allow you to recruit the strongest die. Then you may place the defeated Primus card in your inventory as an item, hero side up, using their ability. That is intriguing. I am intrigued by it. I do like the... I'm going to go with Aprilis over here. We're going to see how Aprilis plays out. Let's go ahead and see what happens over here. We're going to have Aprilis as our hero. We're going to go ahead and choose a starting tactic as well. I'll take a look at these over here. Bolster health is not bad. You know what? Honestly, I'm going to go ahead and take bolster health because he starts off with very low health. That's going to be my starting tactic. These tactics are available to recruit. We'll talk more about these shortly. And then also, some dice are just out of play. Throughout going through this game, I will likely make mistakes at different points. And some of those mistakes are going to be around where the exhausted dice go, because there's training grounds and exhausted die in this game. Over here, these are the dice in our dice pool. As we spend them, they'll become exhausted, but the training grounds is a separate pool of dice, which honestly, for the sake of whatever, I'm going to go ahead and pile these up nicely over here in the top corner, so you can see the dice we have available to recruit. We can get those by completing sports events. We can recruit a die into our die pool. We're going to take these other heroes over here, we're going to shuffle them up, we're going to put 1 over here, because that's where it goes. We're going to put 1 over here, because that's where it goes, and we're going to put 1 over here, because that's where it goes. You're going to put those into your encounters. Once you've defeated the 3rd Primus, you'll go ahead and take on the Scion. And with that, let's go ahead and start. The way it works is whenever you go to a location with a Primus, you could choose to engage with that Primus, unless it's the last card there, in which case you have to engage with that Primus. Past that, you can choose any starting area, and then from there you have to wander around, and you cannot wander through empty areas, so you have to be mindful of how fast you deplete various things. Let's go ahead and set our dice stats over here. We got 2, 2, and 2. Very consistent just across the board over there. We do have to get some of his stats up. Right now his ability is not useful, unfortunately. His ability will be useful once we defeat our first Primus, but until then, not useful at all. And so with that, let's go ahead and decide where we want to start over here. We're going to have different type of encounters. We'll talk more about them as we go. I obviously want something nice and easy to take out. None of them are easy. They're all 3 health over here. I could just ignore one. Ignore the Scion Spectated penalty when spectating. Okay. When you would dismiss a die, recruit up to 2 dice instead. Okay. Gain the top opportunity, not relevant. So I think I'm going to go ahead. The Jin over here is if more than 2 dice are applied to this enemy, -1 health. I don't love that. Because, like, what if I need to apply 2 dice to the enemy? What if I don't roll a crit? That's the tricky part. I have to effectively roll a crit, which is a 1/3 chance on the first roll and a 1/3 chance on the second roll. If I use my highest dice, it's not the worst. Let's go ahead and tackle the Jin and see what happens. So we're going to go ahead and tackle this Jin over here. We're going to put this into our active area and face off against the Jin. We're going to start by rolling these 2 dice, okay? These 2 strongest dice, and hoping for a crit. We did not get a crit, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and roll a 3rd die, and we're going to roll all 3 of these, hoping for the best over here, and we have a crit. Perfect. So we're able to get that, and assign them to this enemy. That's going to be a crit, which is 2 hits, 1 hit. That's enough to take this enemy out, and it's only 2 dice. We're not going to apply this hit, and then we're going to exhaust all 3 dice, putting it into our exhausted pool, and then using our recover stat, we're going to pull back 2 dice in order to use them again. This is going to give us this item. We can currently hold on to 2 items. We can ignore the Scion Spectate penalty when spectating. Basically, as we wander around the map, at times we may not want to actually engage with the enemies or encounters, and we have the opportunity to, I believe, increase health, or I'll have to double check what you do again. You have the opportunity to do things. I don't spectate often in this game. Generally, you don't want to. But it is good to have for right now. Or we could just pull back a die or gather a tactics. In general, when you do a sporting event, you always have the opportunity as a reward to recruit a die from the training grounds or to go ahead and take a new tactics. Those are the 2 always available abilities. We'll have to do those at points, but right now we just don't have to. I guess we currently could. Because right now, can we use the item? Let's go ahead and pull back some dice. Let's get our dice into the pool right now. We're just going to go ahead and discard this and put this into the defeated enemies pile over here, and we're going to go ahead and pull a die back into our pool so we have more dice that we can slowly build up. Meanwhile, we are over here, which means we need to wander to a new location around it. Over here, we have dismiss all dice applied to this enemy. That is brutal. When you use different items, discard this item instead. Ooh, I do like Provocateur over here. We're going to take Provocateur. Provocateur is going to be interesting over here. This enemy's health is 1 plus your highest stat. So we're going to go ahead to wander to that location, pull back Provocateur, and take this card. This enemy's health is 1 plus your highest stat. Our highest stat is 2, which is a good time to take this enemy out. Items cannot be used against this enemy, and then when we kill him, we get +1 to your lowest stat. Now, a few things about bloodlust enemies. First of all, you're going to see this enemy, this icon over here. This icon means it's going to, when defeated, not if it does not defeat you, it doesn't matter, but if you defeat it, it's going to go into the Science pool, and you're going to see this icon here, and that's going to affect how strong the Scions are to a degree. There are ways to get rid of those cards. But separately over here, 1 damage, and then this icon means that if it does damage to us, we're going to have to remove a die. So bloodshed is bloodshed. You know, you can go ahead and take the hit. Generally 20 strong has a lot of management around what you do and when you take hits. So sometimes it's okay to just take the damage and walk away. In fact, particularly if you're playing with Queen Gong over there, she's amazing at mitigating. Lots of fun either way. Point is that right now I just don't want to get hit because I don't want to lose dice. So we are going to try to take him out over here. He has only 3 health, which means we could try for, again, one of these rolls and hoping for the best. And we got strength and strength, so we're going to keep this hit. We're going to add another one over here, and we're going to roll these, and we got 3 hits, sure enough. A little bit of a risk there, nothing crazy. That's 3 damage applied to the Provocateur, which means we can add +1 to our lowest stat, and of course recover. This early on, recover is one of my favorite stats, but these over here, once you defeat this enemy, when you have an item, it would go into your pool, and when you use the item, it then goes into the Scion strength indicator over here. We're just going to move the Scion a little bit off screen. You know he's there, don't worry about it. And we're going to throw that card there so we can start tracking. Actually, we're going to throw it over here at the edge of the screen so we can start pulling over as we go. Where are we? There we go. Okay, anyways, that's that, and now we are done with that encounter, which means we need to wander to our next encounter. We could go to King Gangi over there, who has 3 health. If this enemy is the first enemy activated, it grants no reward. That's unfortunate. So basically, this ability over here, this enemy is going to give us +1 to any stat, which again, getting our stats up early, it is well worth. Oh, by the way, we have to pull back 2 dice. Keep in mind, we pull back the dice before we upgrade our stat, so we unfortunately do not, get that 3rd die back. Not yet, but honestly, based on the fact that we have 2 top cards that give us stat boosts, it's not bad to expend a little bit more to be able to get that in. This game, Hoplomachus, is a game all about, not Hoplomachus, 20 Strong is a game all about choosing your encounters, choosing your poison as you go through it. It's very satisfying, but you have to know when and how to engage with certain things. It's not just about fighting anything, it's about knowing when to lose, knowing where to fight, knowing which things will give you those stat increases you so desperately need. And right now, I'm kind of inclined to go to Cestus. Now, you do have the opportunity to spectate when you go to certain areas, which again, the problem with spectating is we'll have to roll a green die. On a hit, you must activate the card you intended to spectate. If the card is an opportunity, you must place it in your inventory. That is interesting. That's an interesting spectate. So his spectate is more about possibly having to activate the card that you intended to spectate. That's interesting. I've not played against Columbus before over here, so this is our first time for that. But we're going to go see what happens over here. Do we care about spectating against the guy? No, we'll just take him out. We'll take him out. It's all good. It's all good. We're going to go ahead and we're going to move over here. So we're going to take this card, we're going to place it into our active area, and we're going to go ahead and roll 2 dice against it. Again, hoping for, well, it doesn't really matter. We got 2 hits. There we go. He's now dead. So we're going to go ahead, and you can't save up dice one at a time because you'd have to deal all at once. That's the whole nature of this. So while it's 2 wounds, you have to do it all at once. And now we have Training Glove, but we're going to go ahead and simply, I think we're simply going to discard Training Glove right away. Yeah, I think so. So these dice are lost. We're going to discard Training Glove, and we're going to pull back one of these dice into play, and Training Glove is going to go into our pool of used combats over there. Then we're going to pull back 3 because we have a spectate value, a recover value of 3, which is very helpful. And then we're going to go to Nakam over here. So Nakam is going to be pulled into our combat arena. We're going to push these off a bit to the side because we wandered over here. Now what does happen is because we pulled this back over here, this is an additional enemy icon. We have to pull an additional enemy from any of the surrounding camps. If we pull this enemy, then we pull another enemy from the surrounding camps. If we pull this enemy, we pull another enemy from the surrounding camp. Fun fact, one thing I have to look up that I have not done so yet, I'm not sure if you can ever retreat back to a previous spot, meaning if I pull this enemy, can I then pull this enemy as part of this enemy's activation? I'm not actually sure if you can go back. You keep expanding outwards, I don't know if you can retreat back, rubber band back and forth effectively. We'll deal with it if it comes up. But in the meantime, the enemy I am pulling is Kringon over here. Kringon Gi. If I say any names wrong, I apologize. But what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and try to kill both of these enemies. Now, I could possibly take wounds from one of them, not really, because they all deal 2 damage. So I really do want to kill these guys. And I don't mind doing so, because I'm going to get +1 to any stat, which means I can buff this to 4, which really gives me a lot of flexibility. So you know what? Let's go ahead, let's go in strong. Let's go in 20 strong and just roll all of these dice because I think it's worth it. There we go. You know, just first hit, not even a problem. Did I look at abilities? Yeah, we're all good. We're all good. Okay, I'm going to assign these 3 over here and these 3 over here. Both these enemies are dead. I'm going to immediately increase my stat to 4, which just feels unfair to have 4 recover this early in Hoplomachus is very unusual. We're going to lose all these dice. Keep in mind, again, the order is out of order. Strictly speaking, I'm going to recover 3, then boost it to 4. And this over here is move the top conflict card from any camp to any other camp, including depleted camps. That is a useful ability. Now keep in mind, this one over here has those icons, so it's going to go over here, and it's going to be 2. We have to start getting rid of those. We have to pull back 3 dice, which we just did, and then next time around, we're going to be pulling back 4 dice. It feels genuinely a little unfair. This is going to be the easiest game of, probably should have boosted up, but generally in this game, in all the games of 20 strong, there is difficulty modifications. So once you start to figure out the systems, figure out where you can, you know, try to push a little bit more, there are ways to adjust the difficulty to make it harder for you, because you'll want that as you get. This game starts off brutally strong. It starts off hard. Once you start getting a feel for it, it gets a little easier. Watch me now lose horribly. Anyways, over here. So this card over here is going to let us strengthen a die. The way that works over here, strengthen a die means you dismiss a die to the training ground. So for example, if we strengthen this die, we would get rid of this and then pull back that into our pool. So it lets you replace dice in the training grounds that are otherwise dismissed. But past that, these are exhausted. Those are in the training grounds, and we have to choose where we're going next. We still have not revealed a single opportunity, which is kind of annoying actually. We could take out Rotarius over here. I'm not averse to that. Okay. Honestly, none of these are really doing it for me. None of these are really doing it for me as far as the what we wanted to use. So I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to simply head down to the crossbowmen over here. So we're going to go to the crossbowmen. We're going to engage in the crossbowmen. We're going to try to find some opportunities eventually, and we're going to engage here. This over here, I need to figure out a separate. You know what? I'm gonna shift things over a drop so you can have everything, and I'll have the tactics, because the problem is the active area that I'm fighting in is otherwise not as clear, considering some of the enemies are actually, you know, items once you have them. So to that end, I'm going to go ahead and engage this enemy. I think I only need to roll 2 dice, and I'm going to pull back 4, which just feels unfair. We roll 2 hits. We're going to kill the enemy. We're going to exhaust these dice. We're going to pull back 4. This is where I'm going to start snowballing over here because of the nature of having 4 recruit right away. We're going to strengthen a die, so we're going to dismiss this die and pull back You know what? Let me just double check strengthen. I have to check if you have to go up one level or if you can go up multiple levels. It's not something I do as often. The next highest available strength. So it is the next highest available strength. So we're going to go ahead and pull back a green into our pool. And then we are going to continue our combat. This guy's going to go away. He does not have any of the icons, so he's done. I'm feeling strong enough to take on who knows what at this point. We could go down here. Each time a die is applied to enemy, if the die the same color is already applied to it, -1 health. Let's go ahead and take him out. Let's go ahead and take out Caligus of Caledonia. Although, the truth is, if we can hypothetically take out the Primus, like, the question is, are we strong enough to want to not engage? I mean, I guess we have to engage to a degree. You know what we're going to do? We're going to start playing around with, we're going to start playing games with people, okay? We're going to wander over, or I don't want to lose dice. I don't want to lose dice from that. Give me a second. Let me think through how I want to do this. Because there are things you can do. Each wound deals 3 damage to Primuses. That is interesting. If we use that, that is interesting. So I think we're going to hold on to the Serpent over there. And I think we will wander down to Caligus of Caledonia over here. I'm going to try to take this card out. So we're going to engage with it. Oh, we got an opportunity underneath it. We're going to engage with it. We're going to roll 2 dice over here. You know, start with 2. We have another roll if we need it. And we got that and that. And so we're going to go ahead and grab another one of these. And then roll these. And we got that. And we got a miss, but we got a crit. So that was lucky. You got to be careful there. That's 3 dice. Each time a die is applied to this enemy, if a die the same color is already applied to it, we're not applying that die, then -1. I actually chose those wrongly. I forgot about the ability, but fortunately we're safe. We're going to go ahead and take this guy out. We did 3 damage to it. We lose these 3 dice, and we'll pull back 4 dice. Again, snowballing here. Recruit up to 2 dice. The problem is we don't have dice to recruit, unfortunately, because they're all in the pool. We need to get those back in play, and this will go to the Primus pool, the Scion pool, I mean. And then from there, I think we're just going to try to take on Decimus. This might be a horrible mistake. I don't know what we're doing over here. But let's see what's underneath us. What's underneath us is over here. Deplete a Primus camp of all other Primus before activating its Primus. That's interesting. So if we fully deplete a Primus camp before dealing with it, you know, we're going to come back to that. But for right now, we're going to go to this camp and we're going to try to take on Decimus nice and quick. So Decimus is in play over here. Now the way this works, and again, this is the part what's interesting. Decimus requires you activate 2 enemies. The problem is you can only activate from adjacent, and so I could be mistaken here. This is one of those areas where I might be doing this wrong, but my understanding of the rules is that in this case, because you don't activate your own camp, you activate surrounding camps, I don't believe the second enemy would activate. Although, it's going to pull 1 from here. Let's try to resolve things one at a time. Oh, you see, I was going to say if there's another enemy underneath it, it would, possibly. I'm not 100% sure about some of these things, but right now it doesn't matter because it's an opportunity. So Decimus is only going to pull 1 enemy. Now the Serpent, on the other hand, is going to pull an enemy as well. So we're going to go ahead and tuck this a bit over here, just so we can have these in play. The Serpent's going to be pulling an enemy as well, so we're going to have another enemy joining our pool. And to that end, we can pull any of these. But I think the 2 health enemy is probably the way to go. Seems simple and to the point over here. I'm going to be tackling all of these. So we got lucky over there. And again, I'm 99% sure I'm doing it correctly. Let me just read that up quickly just to make sure. But there's different parts of that activation that I think I'm not sure about. But that one specifically, okay, all enemies, adding enemies. Select and activate that number of enemies from the top camps adjacent to your camp. It's highlighted. If an additional enemy you activate also calls for additional enemies, those second order enemies are activated from camps adjacent to the camp the first additional enemy came from. It doesn't specify whether you can go back to the original. If there's no bloodshed or sports cards showing in adjacent camps, skip adding those additional enemies. So the 2 things I'm not clear about is, do you ricochet backwards? That's one thing. And had there been another enemy underneath this, would that have been pulled or not? Either way, for right now, we're fine. So we're going to go ahead and continue. And let's go ahead and read through these enemies. So, items cannot be used. That's our first thing over here. Bane, that's going to only happen after we kill him, so we don't have to worry about that just yet. Then we have 5 health and 2 damage over here. Over here we have each crit deals 3 damage to Primuses, and if your health was reduced this engagement, -1 or either of those. So we do not want any of our health reduced. Strengthen up to 2 dice. If Zakak is the Scion, you may also gain up to 2 dice. Zakak is not the Scion. Very often cards in Victorum over here will reference certain Scions in play. And then lastly we have Simple Crossman. Very, very simple to the point. So we're going to start off with a nice solid 5 dice. Is that enough over here? You know what? We're just going to go in guns blazing and roll all of these dice because I think our recover is enough to deal with it. So we're going to, whoa. So we have 2 crits, and crits against the Scion over here deal 3 damage to the Primuses. So Scion, not Primuses, whatever. Primuses, not Scion. Then we have 2 over here, and 2 over here, we are good to go. Everything is killed immediately. If this is looking too easy, I get it, I understand. It's not too easy. We've just gotten lucky as we go through this. It is what it is. But either way, let's go ahead and resolve these. So these dice are all exhausted. We are going to pull back 4 dice. So we're going to pull back these as our higher dice. These are in our exhausted pool. And then we're going to strengthen 1 die. So let's go ahead and strengthen this into a blue over there. That's going to be from that pool. Then we're going to strengthen up to 2 dice. So we're going to strengthen 2 more. Let's go and strengthen this into a blue and then this into a green. And there we go. That's our strengthening actions. These are going to go away. This will go into here. We might try to rush the Scion in this case. That might be the best way to play this out, to just stop the Scion from getting too strong as we go through it. And so, Decimus is dead now over here. Bane. Okay, now we have to resolve the Bane. Now, this is where there often are abilities that will let you ignore the Bane. In fact, the last game I played of Hoplomachus, I didn't get to resolve any Banes because I had multiple cards that resolved Banes and a card that said you discard this card instead of discarding a card. Ultimately, I ignored all 3 Banes. But either banish a tactic from your inventory or the supply, or -1 to any stat. Make this choice 4 times, then recover all dice. Oh, good to know we would have recovered all dice anyway. I've actually encountered this guy, but I think last time I ignored the Bane. Okay, either banish a tactic or -1 to any stat. I don't want a -1 to stats, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of all the tactics, which might be a risky move, but all the tactics right now are gone. There we go. Done. Decimus, go jump in the lake. Oh, wait, no. After completing a Primus conflict, recruit the strongest die in the training grounds. So we're going to go ahead and recruit this die into play. Then you may place the defeated Primus card in your inventory as an item, hero side face up, and use their ability. So now we have Decimus as a hero. We're finally benefiting from a Primus over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck him down there. Now, because he counts as an item, he still counts against our limit of 2. But our health can never exceed 4. Each time you use an item, you may recover 1 die and or +1. So my degree of recovering right now is crazy. I think we're going to have to rush the Scion. So I don't even care about depleting the Primus camp over here. Add +2 to an enemy, discard up to 2 cards at the top of the deck. If Hydra is assigned, discard up to 2 more. I think I'm going to go here. We're going to go over here against Multiply. We're going to pull Multiply into our item O. If it's an inventory, that's interesting. So I think we're going to try to do is let's go ahead and while we're here, we're going to go ahead and move the top conflict card from any camp and any other camp. Okay. From any camp to any other camp. So we can move any conflict card to another camp. And I think I want to try to get all the way to there. I just might try to take out all the Scions. I don't even know if I care right now. Add +2 to an enemy and then survive the conflict. Yeah, I don't know if I don't know how I want to handle this, but it seems... Alright, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this item over here. So I'm going to move this down to over here, let's say. No particular reason, and that's discarded now. That's going to unfortunately go over here, okay? Then I'm going to wander over here to this location, take this item, because we're going to use that. That counts as one of our items, unfortunately. We do want to up that stat, but, you know, it is what it is. Where is the enemy? I feel there's an enemy that... Oh, this one. Deplete a Primus camp of all, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that right now. So now we're going to go ahead over here, and we're going to go tackle Kraken Lance. So we are immediately... Do I want to immediately tackle Kraken Lance? I guess I could do this. I could... Oh, Kraken Lance is going to pull from a bunch of things over here. That's not the best. Hopefully Kraken Lance only pulls 1. How do I want to handle this? So Kraken Lance is going to pull from enemies, and so I do want to be mindful of how many enemies he pulls. But in any case... Oh, I'm supposed to recover all my dice, by the way. That was part of the last Scion, so that, I don't have to worry about that. Okay. Let's go ahead and tackle Kraken Lance and see what happens. So I'm going to tackle Kraken Lance, and we're going to see what happens. He's a 1 enemy. So, +1 enemy. When activating enemies for this battle, you must select enemies with ++ if possible. Okay, that's fine. So I can work with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull Vitarius, who's going to do a +, but then he's going to pull Rahani, which is going to be a + over there. So I'm going to do that over here, and then underneath. So this is where it is interesting. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pull Ruhani, and we're going to pull those into play as our enemies that we're fighting against. So right now, we still got this. We have +1, plus items cannot be used, so that's fine. Although this counts as an item, theoretically, I'm not sure how that plays out as far as the your Primus is. I mean, theoretically it counts as an item, so I guess you just can't, use it. Also, each time you use an item, you may recover 1 die and or +1 health. So if you recalled, I used that item a little bit ago to, where was it? Where did I even put it? Oh no, here. I used this item over here, so that's going to move that to a 3. Okay, and each time you use a discard, yes, we're good. Okay, I think we're good. So, we haven't even talked about how opportunities work. They give you a challenge. If you do the challenge part, you'll flip the card and unlock that part. Sometimes that just involves discarding the card. But either way, let's go ahead and deal with Crackle-Lance. So, we selected the enemies. When activating enemies, you must select enemies with plus. So we couldn't directly select that one. We selected that one, then that one. Although if that one wasn't in play, that would have acted a whole chain of whatever. Then we are going to go ahead. Items cannot be used. Okay, that's fine. Then we have over here, at the start of the suffer damage step, roll the 2 strongest dice in the training grounds. If both dice miss, this enemy's damage is 0. If both dice hits, +2 to this enemy's. Oh, we've depleted the training grounds. We're fine. But honestly, I don't even think we're going to get to suffer damage. I think we're just going to take these guys out, because we're going to go ahead and roll 5 dice to start off. 5 would not be enough to take them all out. We're going to roll all of these dice over here and see what happens. So, we got the following. We got these 2 we'll hold on to, and we'll apply it to there. We have another roll before we have to worry. So we're going to roll... Should I be rolling more? I guess I should be rolling more, because I don't know if I care about him. In fact, tactically, I think I want to avoid him. So I should have rolled less, honestly, and that's a mistake. That we'll deal with that later. You'll see what I mean in a second. Although, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. So, that did not go the way I wanted it to. Basically, here's what's going to happen. So when you have a Scion Fight, Scion Fights are a little different than normal fights. You can't really, you have to defeat all enemies if I recall correctly. Let me just double check. I think you have to defeat all Primuses, but that is fine. In fact, I made a tactical error again. Let me just make sure. Primus fights over here. All enemies must be defeated, so I couldn't actually have tactically tried to avoid that damage. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to apply this and this to this enemy to take him out, and then we're going to suffer the 2 damage from him, putting us down at 1. Okay, that's round 1 of combat. This one is going to allow us to gain a health as soon as we defeat it, so we're back up to 1 over there. And this one is recover all... we get to put this into our stats, into our inventory, but we're going to use it right now, or plus a die. So we're going to add this to our pool from that, and because of that, we are going to go ahead and use this. Each time you use an item, you may recover 1 die and or plus to your health. So we are able to cycle these back, and that's because he's dead. So as long as he's dead first, we're fine. Then we'll activate this, and we're good. So we are good on these guys being allocated dice that are off to the side. But we still have to resolve. Technically speaking, this only resolves at the end of combat. So that is a thing over there. We still have to resolve this over here. And we're going to go ahead and add 2 dice to this. And we're going to roll our second round of combat. We're going to the next round of combat. He dealt damage to us. We're going to roll. And we got... There we go. That's our 5 right there. Crackle-Lance is dead. So we are fine. Although at the end of combat... Okay, these are gone over here. And then they're all gone. And we're going to pull back 4 dice. So we're going to pull back these 4. We do need to take a little bit of time to refresh and recover because we're not as strong as we think we are. Banish any number of recruited dice such that the banished dice have at least 6 hit sides between them. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and banish 2 greens because they have 6 hit sides. There we go. That's going to be those that are gone. They're out of play along on our bolster dice. And then he is now gone, but he becomes a hero, although that does mean we may have to discard things. You may place him as a hero. At the end of their each recover dice step, you may recover for each incomplete opportunity. Nope, we're going to actually let him go away. We're going to let him go away because, unfortunately, we don't benefit from him right now as much because we don't have our strategy stat up. These over here are both defeated enemies, which means they're going to go into that pool over there, which is not the best, but it is what it is. We still have these, and now it's time to go ahead and deal with a regular enemy. I mean, as much as we can do. So, to that end, I kind of want to go ahead and take on... Oh, I should be going there. That's smart-ish. It would have been smarter had I done things differently. I'm realizing now, I'm older. I should have done things a little differently, but it's okay. We can still work with this. We are going to go ahead and try to tackle an enemy. We need to go ahead and do this. So, we could tackle Atarius. I don't know how I want to handle this. I kind of want to get down here. Okay, fine. Let's go ahead and do this. We could go here and risk this guy, but I don't want to. We could go here to ignore a Bane. At the start of a Primus conflict, -2 health. That's fun. Okay, that allows us to ignore a Bane from a Primus, which could be a good thing. But we need to go ahead and tackle some things. So we're going to go ahead and -1 to any one active Primus. I kind of just want to tackle the Primus. Is that silly to tackle this Primus? It might be silly. It might be silly. Okay, let's go over. There's no good situation here. I need to increase my stat dice to a degree, but I can't do that because none of these things are helpful to do that. I can't hold enough items. This guy may have been a mistake. Okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and go with it. We're gonna go ahead and tackle this guy. We're gonna tackle Latarius over here, who's going to give us a little health. I'm worried that the more we spend time engaging here, I'm worried that we're strengthening the Scion. And that's a problem, because I'm not buffing myself as much because I'm trying to rush the Scion. And if I'm trying to rush the Scion, maybe I just rush the Scion. Maybe that's all I do. Maybe I just rush the Scion. But I don't have enough dice to take down the Primus, so I need to buff up a little bit more. So we're going to go ahead to Latarius over here, and we're going to go here and engage in combat with Latarius. Now Latarius is going to pull somebody back from them, so we're going to go ahead and have them pull back. We're going to pull back this one over here, Shale Lurker. Okay, so we have those over here, and we have to kind of take those out with a total of 6. Items cannot be used, and discard the top sport enemy from any camp, which is not bad, actually. I don't mind losing to Shale Lurker. I might lose to Shale Lurker intentionally. So to that end, I'll roll only 2 dice, and we'll go ahead and got that. We got 2 hits against this guy. He's dead. That's actually a crit, but it is what it is. So, I mean, in a good way, it is what it is. So we're going to kill this guy, and we're immediately going to gain health. We're going to jump up to 4 health, keeping in mind this is our max. Then Shale Lurker is going to discard the top sport camp enemy from any camp. So let's go ahead and discard Immensus over here, because he looks like a jerk face. He generates 2 enemies, which is insane. So we're going to discard Immensus over here, and he's going to go here. And then, because he deals damage to us, we'll go down to 3. But then also, because he deals damage to us, he will not go into the defeated pile, whereas this one will go into the defeated Primus pile, leveling things up there. So now we're over here. We have that benefit, and we could go over here, which would be discard 2 cards. I don't know if I care enough about this. I don't care. If I try to achieve this to the extent... Oh, then we pull back 4 dice. So we're going to pull back these 4 dice. We expended 2 and we got some back, which means we are stronger now. We could take down the Primus, but also we could take down the Magma Rager. If you would suffer 5 damage, ignore all damage dealt to you. Oh. Oh, that's interesting. That is interesting. Okay, here's what we're going to do. This is actually an interesting thing. We're going to go to Magma Rager and engage with Magma Rager. Okay? Then we are going to go... Oh, no, we have to use that first. We have to kill him first. Which means we wouldn't be able to do it. We wouldn't be able to do it. Words. So Stonehelm is an interesting way to get around Multiply, to basically kind of just take it on. Stonehelm is interesting, though. It wouldn't help us against a larger enemy because we wouldn't be able to actually take him out. But, you know what? I don't think there's any point... No, we're going to go to Stonehelm, we're going to take the damage, and we're going to recover dice. Or I think that's what we're going to do. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and fight off we're going to face off Magma Rager over here, and we're going to go ahead and try to kill him. We'll kill him using, let's use 2 dice. We'll roll for it twice and see what happens. So we got that over there. Boom, there we go. So we killed him over here, so we suffer no damage. So we could keep this if we discard something else. So I think we'll go ahead and discard Multiply. I don't think we're going to be able to achieve it over here, so we're going to get rid of that. We're going to hold on to this card, which we'll use later doing the end game. We're then going to recover 4 dice, pulling those back into play, and that was that person's turn, which means now we can go ahead and face off against Bing King. So we're going to go over here, take her, and she's going to add an enemy into play. So she's adding enemy. In the first apply dice step of each engagement, Bing King is the only enemy dice that can be applied. Is applied to. Is the only enemy dice can be applied to. Bing King's strength is equal to the number of dice applied to her. Okay, so we have to be very careful. We do get to recover all dice. Then weaken dice 5 times. Ah, that's not good. I don't like the weakening dice. Anyways, what we can do is, okay, so we're going to pull her into play, and we're going to pull Busterius into play as well. Okay, that's going to happen there. But that means that we have a few options because we have to pull an adjacent enemy, and I don't want to pull the Camel Knight because that will pull more enemies. So we're facing off against Busterius over here. Our next fight is going to be against the Scion over there. So this is like, we're almost done over here. We're getting close to being done and over. But we have Bing King. In the first apply dice step of each engagement, Bing King is the only enemy dice can be applied to. Bing King's strength is equal to the number of dice applied to her. So we need to basically kill her. So we're fine as long as we kill her. And she deals 1 damage to us if we don't. So I don't think this is that. We're going to recover all our dice. So I don't care. Why don't we just go ahead and go all out? Like, what am I missing here? If we're going to recover all our dice as part of the Bane, let's do it. Is only enemy dice can be applied to. Being Thing's strength is equal to the number of dice applied to her. Do I have... Okay, we're going to go ahead and roll. Let's see what happens. Okay. That was a terrible roll, by the way. But we do have 4. And then 5. 6. Okay. So we apply dice to her on our first roll. We have another roll that we can go ahead and roll, which I think we should go ahead and roll because that was a fairly bad roll, all things considered. Her strength is equal to the number of dice, but as long as we kill her, who cares? Okay. So we got... The bad part is this, so we're going to take damage from that. So we do 1 more damage to her, so she's dead. We unfortunately cannot kill this guy, so that's unfortunate. Notice enemies can be added to the current conflict. Oh, that's fun. That could be interesting. Okay, but we can't kill this guy, which means we're going to take the 2 damage from that guy. So he's going to go down to 1 over here. And then she's dead over here. So we're going to go ahead and recover. She's gone. We're going to recover 4 dice from the pool over here. So we're going to pull these back. These might be locked on her. I'm not sure, but it won't really matter because in second round of combat, we're going to go ahead and roll, deal the damage. That one's dead over here. And this becomes, you know what, we're going to go ahead and simply use this to pull back a die. Then we're going to weaken a bunch of dice as part of our steps over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to pull all our dice back because we recover all dice. And then we're going to go ahead and did we use an item? No, we didn't use an item yet. Okay. We're going to weaken 5 dice 5 times. So we're going to weaken this into this. That's 1. Then we're going to weaken this into this. That's 2. We're going to weaken this into this. That's 3. And then we're going to weaken this into this. That's 4. And we're going to weaken this into this. That's 5. Okay, so we weakened 5 dice. And now Bing King is gone. We could use her. Doing the suffer damage step, you may reduce the total damage suffered by 1. Which is great in theory, but I want my other items because I only have 1 health anyway. So we're really not benefiting as much as I thought we would from that ability. But now we're here. We are ready to take on the Primus. This is the fullest, you know, Mount Vesuvius I've ever encountered playing through Hoplomachus Victorum, although I don't yet know if we're going to win or lose. What I do know is we're going to take all these cards and get rid of them. Okay, these cards are all now gone. We had a fairly quick engagement through the game. Let's see if we win or lose based on how strong that deck is. I'm going to put these part of this enemy set over here, and we're going to go deal with the enemy pool. So, Hoplomachus is now going to flip to its other side. We never spectated once. +1 at the start of each round. So you're not going to change the order over here. You're going to have these enemies over here are going to be coming into play. +1 at the start of each round. Setup, +1 to any stat for every 2 of those. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, it's going to be, so 4 stats. So we're going to increase 4 stats. Whew. Each time you apply a die to Hoplomachus, -1 to any stat. Okay, that's fine. All hits are treated as misses, and all misses are treated as hits. So weakening 5 dice is actually great. Okay, great. I forgot. I actually knew about this because I read it beforehand. If all your stats are at 1, Hoplomachus is defeated. So he doesn't have a health. He's just going to add an enemy every round we have to take out, and if we apply a die to Hoplomachus, then we do have to defeat all the enemies, I'm 90% sure. Every game has different rules as far as how they go. In Hoplomachus Victorum, all dice, I believe, are stay round to round, and then they you have to defeat everything. So, Primus fights, Scion fights. Reach the summit. Okay, once then the game begins, all enemies must be defeated. Doing the exhaust dice step, do not exhaust dice apply to undefeated enemies. These dice carry over round to round. So this isn't the craziest. We do get to up 4 stats. So because we get to up 4 stats, I do want rerolls more than anything. Did I get rid of my hero card? Did I shuffle up my hero card? I shuffled up my hero card. Give me a second to find my hero card and the attribute I had assigned to it, because that's not cool. I had a hero. I need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero till the end of the night. I got my stuff back. Okay, so we got our Primus over here. Your health can never exceed 4. Each time you're using this, you may recover a die. Theoretically good, not that useful over here. We have our Magma Rager, okay. And suffer damage step. If you suffer 5 plus damage, ignore all damage dealt to you. Don't think that's actually going to reasonably happen right now, so maybe I should use that to... I'm not going to suffer 5 damage in this stat, because they're just not going to deal that much damage. So it's probably better to just go ahead and use it to recover a die. So I'm going to use this to recover a die, which will up my health by 1. Okay, so I'm going to add a die. Okay, we're going to add the lower die in this case because of the nature of this. So that one's gone. We're using that. And now we're going to go ahead and try to defeat him. But we have to up our stats. So let's go ahead and update 4 stats. Let's just move this to 6 because I think this is going to be all about the misses. Okay. All hits are treated as misses, all misses are treated as hits. So first thing we're going to do is going to start by adding at the beginning of the round, we're adding this enemy. Then we're going to go ahead and roll. I see no reason not to roll everything, I guess. Let's go ahead and roll everything. That's excellent, honestly. That's excellent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got these over here. We got these over here. So our goal is to try to lower our stats as much as possible. The tricky part, if all our stats are at 1, Hoplomachus is defeated. Now, does that include my health? If I could lower, Hoplomachus is defeated. Okay, well, let's see how this plays out. So we're going to do round 1. Okay, round 1, we're going to defeat an enemy. We're going to go ahead, and you ignore these on enemies pulled. You no longer pull from those. You just do that. Items cannot be used. That's cool. I'm fine with that. We're going to apply 2 hits to this guy. That's going to be 2 hits. That's going to kill him. It's going to immediately gain +1 health or gain a tactic. Reluctantly, I think we have to gain a health. I don't think there's a tactic to gain, which I would otherwise. So this enemy is now gone. Those dice are going to be exhausted. These dice are out of play. And we're going to go ahead and use our second roll. We're going to assign these over here. Oh, we have to, each time you apply a die. So we're going to roll those. We're going to lower our reroll. We have to lower our stats by 6. 6 collectively. But we want the rerolls, which is ironic. I wonder how you play that out. Because we need more dice back. Interesting. Do we have enough dice? Do we even have enough dice to do this? That is tricky. Each time you apply a die to Hoplomachus, -1 to any stat, but the dice stay there. We have enough dice, but like this red die over here is an always guaranteed hit. So we might need to take damage, which is fine, I guess. We can work with that. If all your dice are at 1, you know what? No, I think these 2 have to be assigned to you. So that I can take the damage. No, but I'll lose that. No. This is a little bit of a mental mind game. I apologize. I might be doing things wrong too. It's just a little weird how this one works and operates. So these dice are applied. That's fine. We're gonna lower our health down to 1. I guess. No, our health can be lowered through combat. So we're going to go ahead and lower our rerolls down by 6. I guess that could work. No. We're gonna lower our rerolls down to 2. Okay. If all your stats are at 1, Hoplomachus is defeated. Oh, that gives a little more flexibility. Okay, we're going to lower our rerolls down to 2 and this down to 2. And then we're going to go ahead and reroll. Okay, so we have 1 more reroll left over here. So we're going to reroll all of these over here. And we got 2 more misses, which means we can now lower 2 more stats. I think this could work. So if I go ahead, it's going to be so hard to pull back. I'm going to lower my health by 1. This is such an interesting game. I'm going to lower that by 1. And then lower this rerolls by 1. Now I'm going to lower my health by 1 more. I'm worried about what enemy shows up there. I'm worried about the enemy that shows up. I'm going to lower my health by another 1. Because we have to defeat the enemy anyway. Okay. That was the round. He doesn't deal any damage to me because he doesn't actually have anything to deal damage. These dice stay assigned to him, and we recover 2 dice, which those 2 dice are going to be essential to helping me win. Because we only need these 2 more to miss, but we have to see what happens here. We have this guy. Items cannot be used, so it's the same exact enemy, actually. It's exactly Rotarius again. So this time around, we could afford to take the damage, I guess, maybe. I don't love this at all. I don't love this. I don't know if we have enough to deal with this. Okay, let's try to figure this out. So we're going to go ahead and roll these dice. All things that misses, all misses are treated as hits. Okay? Okay. If all of your stats are at 1, Hoplomachus is defeated. So we do successfully have these 2 stats. So I guess at this point, each time you apply a die to Hoplomachus, -1 to any stat. We could just kill this guy and then reroll these 2, which I think is what we have to do. So we're going to reroll those. And we got 2 hits. So now this guy's gone, but nothing changed round to round. Next round, this is going to pull out another enemy. I think I'm doing this right. I'm genuinely not sure. At the start of the suffer damage step, roll the 2 strongest dice in the training grounds. If both dice miss, this enemy's hit is 0. Let's go ahead and roll. Let's see what happens. This is bizarre. Okay, so we got 2 misses over here. Because we could defeat him, but we might actually lose this. I'm just not sure how to win this. We're going to reroll these over here, because this is always going to be hit. And we got those. Okay, so now, if we assign these both... Okay, so if we assign these both to him, this is what we could do. Then we could lower this to 1, and lower this to 1. Okay, I think... This might, again, I'm not certain I'm doing this right, but this might work. So if I lower both of these to 1 over here, because now he's dead, my stats are all at 1, okay? Then, at the start of the suffer damage step, roll the 2 stronger dice in the training grounds. If both dice miss, this enemy's things... I'm dead, I can't, I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna lose, that's it, I'm done. It kills me. That's interesting. That is interesting. So I lost... But, like, wow. So, the good news for you is I lost, despite all my cockiness about winning. I lost that one. Probably should have planned better around Hoplomachus. You really had to possibly, I don't even know how... You have to defeat the enemies first, but the dice get locked up. The dice stay on enemies until they're defeated, which means the die that I assigned to Hoplomachus is out of play. So I guess, tactically... assigning, I'm just thinking through it now, I'm just like thinking back how I could have done this differently. Tactically speaking, all my higher misses should have been, my lower misses should have been kept free to be able to constantly take out the enemies. That's, okay, I think I could have done this. Okay, we're going to try this again, just for the sake of, I lost, just to be very clear, I lost. But in the sake of trying to learn and make sure that something is winnable, I want to show you how I think I could have done it differently. Okay, so we have all these dice. Hoplomachus comes out. We bump our stats to, what was it, 4 over here. And I bumped it by 4, so I took this to 6. And that's all we had right there. We had 1 health, right? We had 1 health. So we had 2, 6, 4, I believe, were our stats. We're going to go ahead and do this. So we're going to pull out that first enemy. And I'm going to show you how I think I should have done it, okay, in order to win. So we're going to go ahead and do this like so. So we're going to immediately apply this stat to Hoplomachus, and we could take the wound. I just need to double check how that works over there, because we have that side. I want to make sure. You must dismiss a die in the cleanup step. That's the problem. I don't want to take damage, because he'll make me dismiss a die when taking damage. Actually, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, we can work with that. So here's what's going to happen. This time around, we're going to apply that hit over here. We have multiple more rerolls to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply... Do I even care to take this guy out? No, we have to take him out first. So I'm going to go ahead and leave these in play. And then re-roll all of these. We have 6 rerolls, don't forget. So we're going to use our 6 rerolls. We lowered a stat by... We're going to lower our health. No, we're not going to lower health. We're going to lower our recalls, okay? That's stat 1. Then we're going to go ahead and roll this. That's our second reroll. Okay, second reroll. And I guess we'll go ahead and apply these 2 for right now. We can figure this out. Okay, and we're applying those 3, which means we're lowering this to 1, okay, and we're lowering this to 5. So we still have, again, tracking this is so interesting. So we still have more rerolls. We still have 3 more rerolls, okay, 3 more rerolls to see what we can get as far as these. Okay, so we got this one over here. We now have, we still have 1 reroll, unless, of course, we apply another stat to take that out, which I think we can safely ignore for right now. So now we're done with that. That's going to be, we're going to choose not to reroll anymore, and now we're going to go ahead and resolve these steps over here. So when we resolve the steps, what's going to happen is this guy's going to deal damage to us, so that's going to lower us by 1. That's going to force us, because of that ability, in the blood step, if they deal damage to us, we're going to go ahead, let me just make sure, is that the end of combat? In the suffer damage step. Nope, suffer damage step. So we're going to go ahead and dismiss a die, but we'll dismiss this die because who cares? And then we're going to go into the next round of combat. So we still have 4 rerolls, and we're diving into the next round, but we will have to add an enemy. Okay, this is where I may have messed up. It's possible I messed up. Either way, let's find out. So we're going to go ahead and roll these over here. I can't afford to... I may have messed up again. Either way. Okay, so this time round, we have to do the following. We need to kill... If we do 2 and 2... and 3, that's enough. So we have the power. Let's see what we can do. So we kill that one over there. We apply this one to here. We have 3 rerolls left, okay? Oh, this is bad. It got closer, but I still think we're losing. Okay. We have 2 rerolls left. And the problem is if we use a reroll, it's going to hurt us. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. We have 1 reroll left, possibly in theory. And no. Okay, cool. We still lost. I'm not sure. I'm fascinated by this. It might have just come down to just having our stats lower before things started, or just having worse die. Like having these blues instead of those purples could have helped us out a bit. There's things I could have done. This plan I could have done. Either way, that is going to be Hoplomachus Victorum, or 20 strong. It's going to be 20 strong, the Hoplomachus Victorum deck. I'll be back more in the future with a Too Many Bones playthrough, as well as, well, I probably put the review up for this before this video goes up. So this probably already is a review of Hoplomachus Victorum of 20 strong, dear lord, of 20 strong that you can go ahead and check out. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.